Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Hatha Yoga Podcast. This is Kelsey, and I'm your host for the foreseeable future. um, Today we are talking about the seventh chakra. So this is the last chakra in our chakra journey. And yeah, it's been really wild. It's been really interesting for me, and I want to know how it has been for you, because I feel like every time I've had to do a focus or an episode, something comes up in that area for me. And it's not always fun, but it is great. It's part of evolution. It shows how to look at things in a new light. It's very positive in my book. So my journey has been really fun revisiting these each specifically and kind of tending to each chakra specifically. So I've really enjoyed myself, and I hope that you have too. Let me know. Reach out on Instagram. I am at Holistic Hatha Yoga. You can also check me out on YouTube, and you can leave comments there as well. Um, Really, just anywhere, shoot me a message, a DM. Let me know your experience. So, anyway, this week we are talking about the seventh chakra. As I said, this is the crown chakra, and I'm going to try to not butcher the name, but it's Sahasrara. I'm butchering it. I know. Um, but it's essentially the thousand petaled lotus, um, is what that means. And this is located at the very top of the head, as you can imagine, the crown location. And it is associated, truly, when we come to colors, it's associated with rainbow light. So it's full spectrum light. But in like the map of the chakra system, it's very typically aligned with violet or purple. Um, but it is very much a rainbow as far as, or like white light, like holds all colors within it. Because this is the place of pure consciousness. This is the place of our true like interconnectedness and connection with everything else. Um, Coincidentally enough, when we are born, we have a soft spot on top of our head that slowly closes as we age. I think by the time you're one, if I remember correctly, 1 or 18 months old, maybe. Um, the skull has fully like formed and closed up, and then it begins to calcify and harden as you age. And that is also attributed to the um, idea of like the when we are young children, we are like, and babies, even infants, we're very connected with the afterlife and or our past lives and or just the spiritual world around you, the unseen. Um, and coincidentally, that's also when our soft spot is open and we're getting that really easy transmission through the crown chakra. And then as that hardens and solidifies, we have a little bit harder time and we get more grounded into the earth and into like this material world and kind of forget about things that we can't see and that aren't tangible. And we dismiss that and we only want tangible results, which is fine, but not fine if that's the only thing that we're looking for. That's where we start to find issues. Um, so this is like, yeah, the end of our energy center, essentially, of the body. And it's it symbolizes our ability to be both within the body and experience like super consciousness or transcendental consciousness and have that connection point while still here and alive and in this body form. And so accessing the crown chakra allows you to, yeah, really understand that connection, and not even understand that connection, feel that connection. I want to highlight that. When you connect here, you truly do feel that whole connection. And I think I would best describe as like a full body, like tingle, but radiating from the crown of the head, and like almost, and yeah, the thousand petaled lotus opening, just full of rainbow light. I mean, I know this sounds trippy, but it's true. But it is true. This place is also often called the void. It's found in deep meditation. Again, a lot of times you can feel that truly in the crown of the head, but you can also feel it at the very, very depths of the soul. So sometimes that's not totally pictured at the crown of the head, but that is where that information and access is coming from. Even if you feel it closer to your heart or towards your center of your being, which I've experienced there as well, but it's more of like, but you still feel that like string of connection up to the crown chakra. This is really where we can access inner wisdom. Um, and this is the part of, yeah, this is really accessing the soul, and the part of us that doesn't die. The part of us that when this body does die, we're still with this thing leaving the body. I mean, when people have like out of body experiences, this is what they're talking about. Um, but like leaving the body and being able to look back on the body and be like, oh, that was me, that was my life. I'm leaving it now though. And like, of course, mourning that. And I believe in Buddhism, it's like a 45-day or 30. No, I don't think it's 30. I think it's 45 days. Supposedly in like the Buddhist tradition, is how many days the spirit floats around as still kind of attached to that ego idea, and just kind of tying up loose ends, within their own self, checking in on their loved ones, all of like the things. And then if you are, at peace with that, you move on and you are either reincarnated into a new body and you continue your karmic lessons, or if you are finished with your karmic lessons, I don't really know how to explain it other than like, just like it becoming part of the great cosmos and just still maintaining some sort of autonomy, but not really. And like, but you also don't have like a body or anything, so you have no needs. You don't have to experience food. You don't have to eat. It does kind of sound boring when I explain it like that. Like you're literally just chilling because you don't need anything, because you're just ether. Your soul, you're part of the universal consciousness. Which is why a lot of us choose to come down to earth and like experience these lessons and these games and these experiences and these depths and these heights, like it's the whole spectrum that we do get to experience as humans. And I think we really, if more people looked at life that way, I think humanity could be better off and a little bit more peaceful with each other. So, that, I guess, is my preach for the day. Coming back to the crown chakra, the action associated with the crown chakra is meditation. Um, I feel like that's a very easy connection there, because that's really the only, not the only way, but the very best way and the deepest way to find that connection is through meditation of some sort. Um, and once you find that connection with that universal consciousness, it's really still being yourself, understanding your ego, understanding your faults, trying your best to like correct your faults when you do make a miscourse. Like everybody, like nobody's perfect. That's the thing, is like we're just trying to do our best. And like, this is why. Because once we have that connection with that universal consciousness, like, of course we just want to act with love and through love and being of service to others and our family and our community, because that's really all we're here to do as human beings. Um, and I think that's the modern, tragedy or outcry for, like, we don't know, we think we're so connected because we have internet, and so truly the world is more connected than it's ever been ever in history. However, we've also been the most disconnected from our local communities more now than we ever have been in any time in history. And that is dangerous. Um, and that wasn't necessary. Well, I was going to say, I don't think that was the plan, but I mean, diabolically, that easily could have been the plan. It easily could have been the plan. But I will just hope for a positive humanity and say that wasn't the plan. We just brought in internet and we're like, whoa, this is so cool. I love being connected. I love being able to email a friend in China in seconds versus having to send mail that might get there, it might not, and it's going to take a month and a half and whatever. And it's slow. It's slow news, obviously. When with this connection, it's like everything can be instantly known. So that is world changing. That is a life altering, world altering situation. But it's also life altering and world altering to not know your local community. And that's terrifying. Because truly, when like nuts come to bolts, and if there was an asteroid that hit nearby, or you had some sort of disaster near you, let's say, I hope not. Let's, fingers crossed, knock on wood, no disasters, or a disaster towards me even, let's just say. But, like, the only people you'd really be able to count on in those situations would be your local people, like food, water, shelter, like the immediate things to have life and to sustain life and to be safe. Um, and so when you have that connection to the higher self and to that universal consciousness, you do have a draw to work with your local community and to be of service to others, even if it's just through volunteering, or if it's through your job, or if it's just through your, coaching your kids' sports team, or whatever it is, being involved, is a great way that you can be of service and create even more unity throughout your life with those around you. Um, and so, this is really the idea of like churches and things, obviously too. Christianity does this as far as like being part of a local community, aka the church. And like truly, I love it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful thing. My grandfather was a Lutheran pastor for a long time in his life, and um, started many churches and things, and obviously loved his community. Um, but that being said, I understand the importance, I suppose, and the historical significance of Jesus Christ, but I am not a Christian in the fact that I follow all of the doctrine and believe that you must accept Jesus specifically to be accepted into heaven or whatever it is. But just to move on in life, let's say, and to experience evolution and bliss. Um, so churches are great, but like not the vibe. Not the vibe. We want a little bit more openness here. So that's where I say just like your local community, and just as Gandhi said, like be the change, be the example that you want to see in the world. Um, so yeah. All right. Moving on from that tangent again, I am on some rolls here. Health issues that would go along with the crown chakra or blockages here would be headaches, epilepsy, paralysis, sleep paralysis, high blood pressure, and tremors of really any sort. And so just kind of, again, watching out for any of those. And if we're having any issues in those areas, maybe try some cleansing techniques for your crown and or third eye chakra. Um, and yeah, and so basically, like I said, this is kind of the access point for that universal consciousness energy. And it enters here, and this is where it then can filter down to our pineal gland and our pituitary gland, which then become activated and then activate the rest of our um, body. Yeah. And I mean, basically, this highly connects into yoga with the idea of like the whole goal. If you are looking at Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, um, the whole goal of it all is to reach samadhi. And samadhi is that point of that feeling, that interconnectedness, and that just all pervading consciousness. Um, when you're like so in depth with the idea or knowing of something else that you completely forget your own existence and you melt into that thing. Kind of starting to sound like an acid trip, but I mean, truly, that's what we're talking about, not acid trips, but like, yeah, becoming one with something and like, and really, feeling that the body is not permanent and it's not our first home and it's not our last home. And that, with that idea, you become so much more grateful for your experience because you're so happy, or just even grateful. I wouldn't say happy because sometimes things are whatever, but like you're just so grateful to be here in this moment with these people, with these certain characters at this point in time, at this location on the globe. Like, what are the fucking chances? Like, crazy. The chances are insanely like just impossible, which is why it's so beautiful and also why it's intentional and also why you really have to understand that we are all connected and karma is always at work and we are being pulled and drawn in different directions, both positively and negatively, and that really our job here on earth is to always work towards the positive, and try to negate the negative as much as we can, heal the negative as much as we can, and move on from it, accept it, and accept others just as well. So, which very much sounds like Jesus, it sounds a lot like the way that Jesus preached and things, which is why I say, like, I agree with a lot of the things, but I think people have taken it a little far on that account. So anyway, so basically through yoga, what we're trying to do is like, we're going through, Patanjali lists out 3 ways or stages to train the mind. The first is dharana, sorry, and that's the focus, or that's like concentration, and it's just focusing on one thing. So this is like when we focus on like just the symbol Om, or focus on Ganesha, or focus on the word Om, or a different, you know, symbol, or a lotus, or whatever it is. We bring our concentration to that thing and that one thing only, and we work on that for a while until we've got that down. Then we move into dhyana, which is meditation. And so that, like I was talking about earlier, that's, really connecting at our core uh, to that higher power, to that soul, And it's really meant to expand your inner experience and, yeah, kind of get you ready for that full connection point. And then samadhi is basically deepening that inner experience so much so that you unite your lower and your higher self. And then you're moving from, basically, it's kind of like the Matrix or like Pandora's box. Like, once you know, you can't unknow. So then, like, even when you do come out of that meditation or come out of that experience, you're changed. It's different. You're like, whoa, that's a thing. Like, I experienced it as a human being. Like, whoa, and you can't unknow it after that. It's kind of like an acid trip. Like, once you see the things, you can't unsee that. Like, you will always know what you discovered within those times. Um, so, I mean, samadhi is something where it's not for the faint of heart. It's not all sunshine and roses and stuff. I mean, it is in a way, but it's yeah, going down to the depths of the soul, and it's beautiful. It's nothing short of beautiful and a miracle. So anyway, so so samadhi is essentially the goal of the yogi and of the hatha yogi. And the practice of hatha yoga is really getting in touch and in control of our breath, of our body, of our mind, body, spirit connection, and deepening that to the point of however deep we want to take our practice. Um, the breath is so highly connected with spirit, um, and with life. If you think about it, we're constantly exchanging chemicals with the world around us, with the ether, with the air around us, with every single breath. We breathe in all the air. Our lungs soak up all the oxygen that it can. And then the blood drops off all the carbon dioxide that it can at the same time. And we exhale all that carbon dioxide out as much as humanly possible. And then we do it again. And that happens every second. Not every second, but every few seconds, and that's a constant energy exchange that you're having with the environment around you. And that's just one example, that's not even the example of like food or liquids or your blood or the things that you put on your skin or your clothing or the, environment and furnishings and environmental factors you have around you, the pollutants, what type of, how much, yeah, how populated the place is you live and how well the air quality is there. There are so many factors that we're constantly touching and interacting with our environment that we don't even realize and don't even think about. But anyway, so practicing pranayama, these breathing practices that are ancient and taught throughout Hatha yoga as just ancient hand-me-downs of the best ways to connect with your soul, which is quite incredible when you really think about it. It blows my mind, which is why I've devoted the last 13 years or more, 14, 15 years of my life doing these practices and talking about these practices and sharing these practices, and simply because they're amazing and we should all continue to do them, especially in this modern world where everyone is depressed or anxious and nobody knows why, because we're the richest that we've ever been as far as like we have most people, knock on wood, and I know I speak from a privileged point of the world, I suppose, but to have even just like a warm house that has electricity and heat and running water and hot water and appliances and washing things, like just all the things, that's that's something to be very, very grateful for. Um, I don't even know how I got on that tangent of gratitude for just our houses. All right, let me backtrack a little bit. So anyway, so pranayama practices are great for just like how, okay, we need to breathe it in this modern day world. But that's because we don't really know what to do with our time. We have all this time, and we would have spent that time fetching water or hunting for food or building shelter or cutting wood for our fires. And like now we don't have to do that. So we do have a lot more time. And so we're trying to be entertained, or we're trying to do all these different things, and it creates different stress for us, or anxiety and depression, or antisocial behaviors if we're just at home on Netflix all the time or on our phones, or working from home. I'm guilty of that. I work from home on my computer, and it's like I can go days without even leaving my house, and I'm like, whoa, once I do, I'm like, oh my God, whoa, everybody else exists. Like, what the fuck? Okay. Um, so these breathing practices help us connect with the outer world and really help us consciously do that. Um, with breath is connected to prana, which is where the word pranayama comes from. And prana is more of like energy source or life source. It doesn't mean breath. It's more like life force. Um, and with prana is light. And light is encoded with all sorts of information, of life information. And if we increase our prana levels, then we can increase our aura, or increase our brightness within, and so we live a more full life, and we have a brighter spiritual light. Um, and it can give us more of that, like this is where the word obviously like enlightenment comes from. Because it is very much a light sensation. And if you think about the earth, really nothing can exist without light, without the sun. Um, and so, yeah, using these practices to connect at that deepest level, it's really all we're trying to do when we do these yogic practices. It is not about having a tight ass. It is not about being able to be the most flexible human in the room. It is literally about being connected to spirit and acting from a place of such. Um, and when we are doing these things, I kind of touched on this on the last episode, but we can have access to such beautiful, like, really miraculous powers as far as like spiritual healing, um, vibrational healing. And we access this through basically like through the electromagnetic field, through our own hands, through our own aura, through our own intention. These things, and it's not like, I realize this sounds absolutely insane, but at the same time, this is also things that are 100% scientifically proven. Like, we have already proven that humans, healers, whatever you want to call them, people who are intending to heal and are highly connected within themselves, do emit energy levels from their hands, from their heart, from areas when they are doing in one, we all emit an energy field. So it's not just healers. They're not like the miraculous Jesuses walking around healing people. But, but they're the ones that are consciously aware of it and consciously controlling it. And it's truly not that hard to access and control once you know how to do that, and once you've worked your way through these steps and understand it and feel it and do it. But that being said, yeah, we all have our own energy field, and that is where, like the law of attraction comes into play, and just like these laws, these physical laws of the universe, where it's unseen forces, but we've all experienced it where you have just, if let's say you have like really good intentions on something and like suddenly like you're just feeling really good about it and then everything just starts working out really well for it and things fall into place kind of magically and it's like, wow, I had no idea how this was going to get pulled off, but suddenly like it was so easy and I didn't even really have to do anything. It's like the world rearranged itself to make it happen. How peculiar. And it's like, no, it's not peculiar at all. It's literally science. You made the intention and the consciousness around us, through us, and the ether all around is like, oh, and it reacts to it and it does it. And it works both ways. It works for positive and negative. If you're constantly looking for negative, you will consistently find it. If you're like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible, guess what? It's going to be terrible. If you're like, oh, I'm dreading this is gonna suck, it's probably gonna suck, you know? On the other hand, if you just go in, even if it's a situation you don't want to be in, and you'd rather not do, but maybe you feel a sense of responsibility to do it anyway, um, you just go with the truth, your authentic self, and, be of good intention, just whatever you go through, whatever you experience, whoever you come across, just have the attention to come from a positive place. Like I said, even if it's somewhere you don't really necessarily want to be, and you'll be amazed how well the world rearranges to make it nice, to make it pleasant, even with something that you were thinking might not be so pleasant. So try that, I suppose, the next time you're going into something you may not even want to do. Because it's easy to go into things that you love and are like, I'm going to have a great time. Of course, like, because you fucking love it, like, and you're going to have a great time. Like, duh. But these practices are a lot more, not even more beneficial, but they can be very handy in the negative, uh, or the seemingly negative experiences as well. Um, So, like, this is, I think if you haven't listened to it already, you should go back and listen to my infrared or near infrared light therapy episode. I talked with a doctor who was like a pioneer of red light therapy and all of its benefits and things. And I was truly blown away. I didn't really know much about it before our talk, before he had reached out and was like, hey, let's chat about this. I was like, oh my God. I honestly didn't really know about this. Like, so that blew me away. So if you don't know about red light therapy or would just like to know more, we go into the nitty gritty as to like how it works on a molecular level. It's like so fun. I was having the best time. So anyway, but like this is where we can connect with light therapy and infrared light. And basically because we're working with like UV light, um, or almost like in that spectrum. And it is helpful for us. So again, like opening that crown chakra and allowing that energy to come through is only going to help increase your life force energy, your vitality, your happiness, and your ability to help others around you. So there's literally nothing bad, you know? And like this is where I kind of laugh if I see things that speak negatively of yoga or meditation and are like, it's letting the demons in. It's like, bitch, if there's demons in you, like that's your own issue. That is your own issue. That is not yoga's fault. Yoga did not bring the demons and put them inside you, and meditation didn't either. If you found demons while you were meditating, then that's some deep shit that you need to work on. Thank you very much, and I will pray for you kindly. Um, but yeah, because truly meditation literally only leads to be linked to the light and to be a being of light and to be of good of highest good to those around you and yourself. Um, and so this is why it's called, the thousand petaled lotus, is because it's kind of just like that infinite connection point, just the ultimate unfolding and overflowing and just beautifulness of like a luscious thousand petaled lotus, if you can imagine that in your mind's eye. Um, um, and I know I've been going, the sound like associated with the crown chakra is, I found this to be very interesting, is the silence that is led into the sound of Om. I'll repeat that again. So the sound that's associated with the crown chakra is the silence that is led into the sound of Om. So I love that because, like, I don't know, just like these teachings and these ideas are so rich. They're so beautiful and they're so thoughtful and they're so just deep. I love it. I love it. It's like, what's the sound of the crown chakra? Like, it's not a sound. It's actually the sound that happened before Om, which is all of connection and creation. So it's like the silence before the thing, the connection that's even deeper than the physical. It's that pervading metaphysical part that you can't see, hear, or really distinguish until it's been a sound. So I thought that was like beautiful, a really beautiful explanation the of the crown chakra, or good relation point. And then as far as yoga asanas or postures that go along with the crown chakra or help with the crown chakra activation is the headstand. This is largely why it's called the king of asanas, because headstand is supposedly the most beneficial for the brain, the crown chakra, the pineal gland, your nervous system, all the things, by putting the whole body upside down and letting gravity bring blood all the way down to the brain, doing like a full reoxygenation basically of the brain as we do that. And then also giving the heart a little bit of a different type of job as far as pushing blood up towards our toes, and letting all of the blood from our legs and things drain down towards the heart. This is also an amazing pose for our body in general because it also helps with the lymphatic system. And if we're keeping a clean lymphatic system, we can keep a clean and healthy body like all over the place very easily. And if we do become ill or sick, it's really easy to get back onto the health, or back into the health and healthy range, I guess, is what I mean, of life. But so anyway, headstand is also great for the lymphatic system. Again, allows lymphatic drainage. Um, and it is really just all around a great pose. This is also an advanced pose, so not to be taken lightly, not to be done without supervision or without instruction. Um, but another really good pose that you can do instead of this, that's more accessible, is shoulder stand. So shoulder stand is basically if you lay on your back and then put your legs up towards the sky, bring your arms underneath your hips and just try to get your hips as high up in the sky as you can. Try and stack your hips over your shoulders if you can and make a straight line with your body. If not though, just pushing your legs up towards the sky, supporting them with your hands or arms is perfectly fine. And this does a lot of the same. It's not the exact same, but it can do a lot of the same, as far as the blood flow, the lymphatic flow, and getting a lot of positive oxygenated blood flow to the brain. So shoulder stand is also great if you're not if you're not comfortable at the shoulder stand level. And then I guess also crow pose is a great pose for this, because again, it's kind of bringing your head down to that heart or below your heart level, where you're getting some good blood flow, some reverse blood flow happening. And yeah, that is basically all that I have. I feel like that was kind of long-winded. All that I have for the chakra, it really just, it unites us all. It's and it's that full connection point, and I want to circle back and also highlight the fact that yoga means union, and it's talking about the union of the divine soul to your personal soul or whatnot. Finding that connection with the divine, being part of it. Um, and so, yeah, as far as the chakras go and how they're all connected, it's basically the chakra systems were discovered through yoga, and that is how they're connected. Um, but yeah, so I hope that kind of clarifies the crown chakra and its place in our spiritual journey and in our yogic journey. Um, and that you can see that kind of each of the, as we've now officially wrapped up the series. Whew, holy cow, my friends. What an odyssey. What a lovely time. That you can see that they all play upon each other, that one feeds into the other, into the other, into the other, and that if you have imbalances in one, it will create imbalances in other places. And just as, I mean, just like a house, the further down the imbalance is, the more it will affect everything, because if you have a severe imbalance in the base, there's no foundation, so everything's going to be imbalanced. Versus, you have your first three pretty well balanced, but you might have an imbalance in the fourth. Okay, got it. But at least your first three are fairly balanced and foundationally strong. So working that fourth in, it's only imbalanced a few others, and once you get that fourth back into place, the rest kind of fall in. And it's a constant juggle for sure. But it helps to maintain that peak optimal health. And isn't that what we're all here trying to do? So yeah. So with that, I will wrap us up on the chakra series, my friend. Woohoo. So if you have not listened to the others, I do suggest you go back and start from the beginning. There's 7 chakras and there's 7 episodes, so you can just go one after the other and binge them out. If you found them helpful at all, feel free to tag me on Instagram. I'm at Holistic Hatha Yoga, and I'll reshare any that I see. I would love to see like who's listening and how it's helped you, or if you want to just, share it with a friend who doesn't know about these things or is maybe interested in these things, doesn't know where to start. Um, yeah, pass it along. Um, Please do rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening. It does help it expand and get to other people. And I would also just love to hear what you have to say. And see any of your input and feedback. I love getting your messages on Instagram and things. And yeah, I just love connecting in general. So I know earlier I was ragging on connecting internet wise, but obviously I love the internet as well. I use it all the time. I love it. I appreciate it. But that's not to then neglect your local community. So I'll just straighten the record right then and there. But yeah, so that is all, my friends. Feel free to check out my YouTube channel at Holistic Hatha Yoga. I have some fun postures, meditations, and practices there. And yeah, until then, I will talk to you next week. Enjoy. I hope you feel balanced and ready for the week ahead. Take care, friend. Namaste. My light sees your light, and in that we are all connected. And that is what it's all about. All right. Bye.